Welcome to Finding the Fire. The fire inside is what drives us. Left unattended, it can burn out of control. In Finding the Fire, Cindy Jacobson speaks with guests, telling stories of trauma and triumph. In sharing our experiences, we find connection and understanding. Join her now as we burn through the walls of separation. Get ready for Finding the Fire, and let's find your spark.
And we are on.
Hi.
Girl, what is going on right now?
Nothing.
Okay.
Because it's all canceled.
We totally called it last week, didn't we?
Nope.
Life is
Stop
canceled.
it. Whatever it is you were thinking, don't even do it.
Just stop.
Don't think about it. Before you even think about it, just cancel it.
Yep. Just
we can't.
write it off.
Corona's in charge.
Corona is ruling the world.
Well, COVID-19 really is.
We thought it was like, well, a certain strain. Because Corona's been around for a long time. Like, people have had Corona, but this certain strain is dictating the world. It's not the president. It's not the UN. It's nobody but a virus.
Right.
Crazy.
It's so just fascinating how something so like that just a virus could have such huge implication, right? Worldwide, not just in our town, not just the town next door, worldwide.
It's crazy.
It's in such a fast, like they were saying, in 19 days, we went from like a thriving, moving, shaking world to a dead halt.
To life's canceled, literally. Right. Driving here today to the studio, like there is nobody on the roads. There's nobody on the streets. There's nobody in the parking lots. Like there's a few people in some drive-thrus, maybe picking up something out of a window. But other than that, there's nobody out.
Nobody's out. Trump did a press conference yesterday and asked us to, stay in. And, we're doing a pretty good job, he was saying, of self-quarantining. Not really quarantine, but, social distancing.
Social distancing.
So I think, if we continue to do what we're supposed to do, wash our hands, use social distancing, hopefully this will get passed. But he was saying, hey, right now it's March. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yes. Hello.
He's saying like the outside of this could be July. But for the next 15 days, if our country follows the steps of, clean hand washing, social distancing, all of that, possibly we can have a little bit of, a slowdown. That's the hope. But we are ahead of where the other countries were.
Right. And we can be grateful for that for sure. And, I hope that this works the way that they're telling us they plan it to work. Mm-hmm. I can't help but feel empathy for so many people though right now.
Many people.
I did a little social experiment on my way here and grabbed a cup of coffee at my favorite coffee shop that does not have a drive-through. Okay.
They don't have a drive-through. They don't have an office there. I love this little place in which you're speaking.
Seriously, the best place in our town.
West
and
Village,
everybody hangs out there. It's like Cheers and Friends had a baby all together at West Village. And I'm like, I need to go in because the owner there, I just love her and I'm concerned about her and her business.
Love her so much.
So I'm like, I'm going to go get my coffee and see what's going on. And it was crickets. There was a few people buying coffee and there was maybe one or two people working on their laptops, but usually that place is packed.
It is like hopping. Right.
Yeah.
And now it's the same thing. It's just
she's already had to lay off employees. Like
I know, and then we're only a couple days into this, really.
Like one or two or however many, but also think about all of the other implications. Like they're telling us 10 people max. So in dining restaurants are supposed to close down. Well, what about all these waitresses that make $2.13 an hour and rely on tips? How are they going to take care of their families? How are they going to feed their kids?
Not.
Right.
It's one thing, like I have noticed some people, I'm on some different Facebook groups, that people are helping each other out. But then there's also people that are like hoarding to the max, right?
And let's talk about the negative news for just a minute, because I don't like to lament in the negative, but we're going to talk about a few things we've seen, and then we're going to turn this around because, So I saw this yesterday, and P.S. mind you, I don't watch news. At 19 years old, I learned that anything on the news was fear-mongering and fear-based, and it just terrified me. I'm like, I don't want to live in fear my whole life. Like, if something's going to happen out of my control, I don't want to be afraid of it. It's going to happen no matter what. So I shut off the news at 19. I don't watch news. Having said that, I do most of my business on social media, and everybody knows that's all social media is talking about is coronavirus. Mm-hmm. So a few things I've seen. A lady in our state... There was a picture in front of her house of her standing there and toilet paper in her driveway, clear up to the top of the
What in the world?
Roof. Toilet paper, paper towels, mostly toilet paper. And then she turned around on a yard sale site a local yard sale site, and offered to sell these cases of toilet paper for $150 a piece.
Knock it off.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. How is it fair for like the elderly that are going down to the store and like maybe not even just the elderly, people that just actually need to do their weekly grocery shopping, and you have people that are doing that and taking advantage of the situation? That is too bad.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see that. And of course, there's lots of stories out there. You've heard of, I mean, I don't know if you've heard of this one too, but there's a Sam's Club where 2 men were fighting over a case of water, and one of them broke a wine bottle and stabbed the other guy with it.
What is going on? People are losing their minds.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I did see a video of 2 ladies like fighting in the grocery store. It's like, I will tell you though, this last weekend I went grocery shopping. I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to just, if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. And so I was up in Salt Lake City and I went to one of the Smiths, and it was the opposite. Me and like the other shoppers were just like, what are we doing?
Right. I know.
So on the other side, I'm just like noticing when I go to the store, like we're all just like, are we all mad together? Like we're all crazy?
It's like the fear is perpetuating.
Yeah.
Like, my husband and I both were like, we've gone to the store to get stuff because we feel we have to because everybody else is, and we get there and we're like, what are we doing? We don't need this stuff. Let's just get what we need for dinner tonight and call it good. And
I mean, I went home and I'm like, I'm good for a few weeks. I'm good for a month. Like we're going to be fine. But really, like Trump was saying yesterday at the press conference, he was saying, stop buying everything.
It's so ridiculous.
Stop panicking. Like, yes, there are some things that are closed temporarily. And I just really hope that this panic can settle down a little bit, even though I know it's not going to.
Wow.
The school being closed, I'm a retired teacher, but my sister's a teacher in Washington State. Washington State was where some of the first deaths were in an old folks home, retirement home in Kirkland that we know of. And there's a lot of cases in Washington State.
Yeah.
And they're out of school for the next month and a half. So it's just, they're going to have to try to learn, from home and different things like that. So many things are trying to help us, but it feels like it's hurting.
So, okay. So let's just think that, on the positive side of everything, and realize, like, what are the benefits you see of this coming out?
I see benefits of, well, I had to reflect on, like, am I prepared for an emergency?
Right.
I had to go home and go, okay, do I have enough toilet paper? And if you start doing the math, boys and girls, you don't need 795 rolls. And if you do, the coronavirus isn't your problem. You need to go see a doctor now.
You need a doctor
it's
way before the coronavirus hit.
So it made me go reflect on my own personal emergency preparedness in the event that there was an emergency. It's opened up conversations with my kids about how we don't have to be scared. And then also, like, being home with your family isn't the worst thing ever.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
That is honestly the thing I am most excited about. Mm-hmm. Like this 2 weeks, like we had a humanitarian trip plan, like the spring break, like it was going to be a little chaotic, to be honest.
Totally.
And in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I wish I could just like not for a minute. You and I are the same. We're just go all the time. All the time. We're go, taking care of the world. And now it's like, hey, we get to slow down. Mm-hmm.
We get to
phone on.
We get to slow down. We get to stop for a minute.
Slow down and see what's important. Mm-hmm. And what's really important is us, because if we're gone, then nothing else matters. And B, our family around us, not all the chaos out there.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That is somebody else's problem. This is what's important right here in our inner circle. And I am so excited to have these 2 weeks, at least, maybe longer, 2 weeks with my kiddos and just be home and not have to be on the go all the time. And
some other good things I'm noticing too, like on a global level, is, you have protesters that are protesting all over in China, in Haiti. And those protesters are even having to come to a halt. I was thinking about some of the things. I mean, there are still major issues happening in Haiti right now. But looking at some of those operations that are having to pump the brakes a bit and change what they're going to do, it's making everybody reassess. So I think it's going to slow down crime in some areas, and it's going to make crime worse. But really, the benefit of us banding together as families and strengthening each family unit is going to be amazing.
And the other things that you touched on earlier, you're like, there's social media groups. There's one called Southern Utah Quarantine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's thousands of people on there, you guys. And all they're doing is like, how can I help you? Like, I don't have much, but I can spare a few rolls of toilet paper, or I can make dinner and bring it to you.
I know, it just helped restore like my hope in humanity. I'm on that group also.
And that's the thing. And there's people that are like, hey, I know some of you, with school being out, like a lot of parents they rely on their kids being in school to go to work to provide for their families. And so there's people on there saying, hey, like, I understand understand you might have troubles with your kids, bring them over, we'll do crafts, we'll do whatever. They're just reaching out and helping each other. And that's the good. Mm-hmm. And that's the bulk of humanity. But we never see that because all you see is the negative news, mm-hmm. the fear-based, the one bad apple in the whole bunch. And that's the one that gets all the attention. But the whole bunch is banding together and being like, hey, how can I help you? What do you need? And the one, I actually took a picture of it, and I'm going to share this later on social media, but there was a daughter that reached out on that group. She's like, my dad is there. He's 80-something years old. He can't drive. He's in need of these supplies, and I can't get down there right now. Within minutes, there was 30 people on there. What can I do to help? What does he need? Like, instantly got help for him and got him what he needed. And that is the good. And that's what humanity is. Not all this noise out there we're being told. Yeah. So that's a huge blessing, really. That's a huge blessing. And I love that. And
there's this emotional swing, oh my gosh, panic on one side. Yeah. The other side is like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We get to be home with our families. We get to see the good in humanity, which is most of our neighbors, most of the people that you surround yourself with. And you don't even take a minute to realize it.
Yeah. We get to remember who we are as a people and as a humanity and as a society. And I love that aspect.
I understand, though. I mean, do you understand when people are feeling, a little bit panicked or freaked out? I mean, you have Disney's canceled.
I know. You got Disney, the NBA's.
March Madness, seriously? College basketball. NBA is going to be playing.
Can we just talk about a little bit of how crazy this is?
Yeah, it is.
It's a little over the top. And I'm just going to say it. And I know I'm going to have a lot of people not like me saying that. But it's a little drastic what we're doing right now. And I completely understand we don't want this to spread as fast as it's spread in other countries, and we want to protect our elderly and our immunocompromised. And I have immunocompromised family, so I'm not downplaying anything. And my sweet grandmother, who is my person, she's 93 years old in a care center with dementia, and they're on lockdown. Mm-hmm. And this my poor grandma doesn't understand anything that's going on, and all she knows is her family. So now her family doesn't even get to come see her.
Right.
And it's heartbreaking. So I'm not trying to downplay that we're trying to protect and be careful and be cautious. But really, the whole world shut down over this virus.
The whole world.
The whole world.
And I understand too, the worry is that if it was to spread like it did, we wouldn't have enough ventilators, the healthcare system would be overloaded and, compromised that way. But you're right. It feels super drastic.
It does.
And they were saying even if we don't all do this, what we're supposed to do for the next 15 days, if we don't all do it as a country, band together, it's not going to work. So we're hoping okay, let's hope it does what you say it's going to.
Right.
But as a country, we have to be, they were saying a one united front against it and be personally responsible for our part in not spreading it.
Right.
So, but it feels really intrusive. I don't know if you've seen what's happening in the other countries, how their lockdowns look, but it does include some militia type monitoring.
So I've heard,
what in the world?
I don't watch the news, but I've heard from from a couple sources now that in Italy, they're walking the streets with military weapons. And I was told today that they were walking the streets in Vegas with military weapons, checking IDs. Oh. Why? Why are they checking IDs on the strip in Vegas? What does that have to do with the coronavirus?
Maybe they can find some more criminals. That might be okay.
I know, but I'm telling you, this thing is way drastic. It's way drastic, and it's way bigger than the coronavirus.
And I'm thinking, okay, the flu has killed more people like we talked about, but yet I've never seen the president come on and talk about the flu. I've never had school canceled because of the flu.
Right.
And something.
Anyway, it is a little drastic, a little extreme. I mean, and look how quickly they got us all to comply with that. That's what scares me. It's they can shut down the whole world with just something that simple.
And one thing is, they were saying the good thing that they did that travel ban in international quarantine type situations that happen. It did help give the government time to kind of strategize and realize, all right, what can we do? And they were saying yesterday, it might seem like we're over the top, and I'm watching going, it does, but they have said that they've carefully, considered the odds. And if we all band together, we will have a chance in slowing this down. And that's the hope.
That is the hope. And I truly hope that that's the case. But I've also heard some other people mention this, and I thought about it too. How many of us had the flu this year?
Right.
And I don't know how many times I heard people say, this is the worst flu I've ever had. It didn't come just once. It circled back around. I got it again. I had a cough that lasted 5 to 6 weeks, wouldn't go away. I'm like, body aches, fever, sore throat. It came back again. These are all the symptoms and all the worries of COVID-19, right? And I'm like, we weren't testing for it back then. We weren't testing in the United States for it.
Right.
And who's to say it hasn't already made a huge circulation of rounds, and people that would go in, they're like, well, I have all these symptoms, but I'm not testing positive for the flu. But they said, just go home and wait it out. And they were fine, most of them, but we still had the flu deaths, and the flu deaths were high. So who's to say that we haven't already had a round of it? And
that's a good point.
Yeah. So
it's interesting because the testing that was out wasn't reliable or wasn't proven yet. So you can't. I mean, I do think a lot of it's speculation, a lot of it's hoping. I mean, you have some, really brilliant people at the CDC that are, scientists trying to figure it out. But at the same time, it's like, it's a practice. I feel like we don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't feel confident in the fact that if we all do it, that, this, even if we end up do I dare say the word quarantine? Even if we do end up there, like, who's to say that still won't? Because they did ask that yesterday of the president. They said, are you foreseeing in our future a complete lockdown, shutdown / quarantine for people? And he said he's not ruling it out, but not as of right now. And so he was urging us to really take the next 15 days seriously to do this social distancing. And it's interesting. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work?
Right.
Is life still going to be canceled?
Well, it's canceled for the next 2 weeks for sure. And
they're saying the millennials are the ones that are going to stop it. Like that age group.
Millennials.
The millennials are going to be the ones that are going to have to take a stand because there's so many of them. They know how to communicate via phone. Stay indoors if you can. Don't have big groups of people together. They went through all of that, but we're going to need the millennials' help on this, like, to teach us how to, they're really good at, communicating just via phone.
So a few other things. Yeah. A few other things that I'm kind of excited about this lockdown is it's giving us time, right? Time to do all those things that we never said, or we said we would do when we get around to it, or when we have time, and we never get around to it, and we never have time because we're always busy, right? We're just so busy. So what is something that you've thought in the back of your head or said out loud even, like, I'll do that when I get around to it, when I have time,
Well, a couple things, like taking a deep breath and just reanalyzing what I have coming up for the next year. We have a lot of things going on in my own businesses, and just taking a breath with, okay, how do I organize my time, manage my businesses, don't let them manage me, and really dive into what's the most important. So that's one thing. Another thing is I want to frame a room in my house. Yes. So when my house was built, the builders messed up, and there's this one room that never got finished, and I really want to do that.
Well, now
so
you have
I
time.
just want to, get out the hammers and nails.
There you go.
Get that sucker
now you
done.
have the opportunity to do that. Yeah. I love what you said in that first part, and I think that's going to be a big piece for all of us, like, because it's going to make us slow down and make us be still within ourselves and within our homes and within our families and within our inner circles. And when life gets back to the everyday that it will at some point, we don't know when that will be, but we're going to be like, wait a minute, I don't want to be busy just for the sake of being busy.
Right.
It feels good to slow down and take a breath
for some odd reason.
We think busy is like the ultimate goal, and really it's not. Mm-hmm. Really it's like being still within yourself. So I love that. I don't know about you, but I have had a book in me since 19, and I've had multiple books in me in the meantime, and I keep saying, I'm going to write that book. I'm going to write that book. I'm going to write that book. And I never get around to it. But today I started, and I'm 3 chapters in.
Oh my gosh, that is such a gift. Can I tell you? To be able to write.
Yeah. I'm just so excited to have the time and the slow down and not worry about all the things, I'm like, I'm just going to write this book because it's been needing to come out, and now I have the time and opportunity and no excuses not to.
That's awesome.
So I'm super excited about that. And just like you, like rebalancing and reorganizing my businesses and nonprofit, and like where to spend the time and energy and make it most valuable without just being busy for the sake of being busy. Because I'm done with that.
Right. And that's what our whole nation's having to do.
Yep.
Take a deep breath. My one thing I do worry about really, really, really a lot is the seniors in high school. They have to graduate.
Yeah.
Their school is getting paused. So if you can pray for them and their families, because what do? They have plans. They need to graduate. Or even the seniors in college, like, they probably have plans after that. Like, yeah, my daughter, is in elementary school, and then I have a son that's in high school, but he's not a senior. So there's a way to get around it. Like, we can take summer classes. We can make sure that they, if he has to get any credits. But if you're a graduating senior and you need these credits to get into college, or, if you're in AP classes, there's all of these things. So,
honestly, I'm not worried about that because they can easily switch to online. I have my kids already doing, my youngest is in homeschool. We fully homeschooled her about a month ago. We were doing halftime before that. And my older two, they do a couple online classes already. And it's an easy transition. They don't want you to think it is, but it really
right
is.
Now, as they're in the middle of a term, and, I'm talking with my other teacher friends, it's like, the kids are getting sent home for between 2 to 6 weeks. There's no prescribed, like when you do an online class, there's Blackboard, there's things that are already installed, right? Well, right now, they're all just guessing.
Yeah.
There's different teachers have different online platforms they use. There's different subscriptions for education. But right now, all the kids aren't just going into an online class. They're like trying to finish a half
That's true.
thing.
I'm not worried about it. I know it's going to be difficult, especially, you're a teacher, so seeing that side of it, it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to say that, but I will guarantee you they'll find a way for these seniors to graduate.
They'll have to. They absolutely will have to.
Yeah.
I know that they will. They're also figuring out ways to make sure that, did you see that the feds lowered the student loan?
Yeah.
To almost to zero.
And I think they even delayed payments. You can halt your payments for a while.
Yeah. So there's good things, right?
There's things coming out of it. And the thing that I am truly sad for these seniors and stuff is their their senior year, right? Like senior prom and all the things that you do your senior year that you're looking forward to.
That's why I'm so sad about March Madness, dude. Yeah. These college kids probably worked from the time they were 4 to someday get to the big dance, someday get to the March. I love college basketball. I love college sports in general.
You and my husband don't get along.
I love it. They fight and they work really hard. I love college sports. And so as soon as they said March Madness, no March Madness, I'm like, this is a travesty. The rest of it, who cares? But March Madness, no.
See, and I'm like, I read this meme and it made me laugh, and it said, 2 days of no sports. I had to turn off the TV. There's a woman sitting on my couch. Apparently she's my wife. She seems nice. And I died.
She seems nice. She cooks too, I guess.
That is literally my life, okay? When there's any sports going on, I don't care if it's football, if it's basketball, if it's golf, if it's hockey. I don't care what it is.
I cannot watch golf.
I am a widow to sports on television.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
I'm actually really excited about this. I'm sorry, guys. I know. You can.
Oh man, I'm that
hate
person.
me,
Come March Madness, I'm just like, what? I cannot look away.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't know. I was raised by a single dad. That's what we did together, and so I still sit in front of the TV. I'll go watch sports while the kids are in bed to catch up on what's going on. But I get sad for those players, their college experience.
That does make me sad.
It's like, dang it.
And I don't know. I'm just going to, we only have 2.5 minutes left, so I guess I won't go off on that rant. But this whole thing, it's just a little bit kooky to me.
It's all kooky to all of us, right?
There's things we can do to protect ourselves without having to literally cancel life. I'm just baffled. I'm baffled too.
I get they're just like, understand the logic, or maybe not even understand or like it or whatever, or agree with it even. I see where the perspective's coming from, but it is freaking kooky. Good word.
It is. There's no better word for it. But
I mean, sports are canceled, for the kids in high school.
I know. Everything.
Dance. I mean, if you start to think of anything, forget it. Don't even think.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. We have a pool in our backyard that we can hang out in, because if we had to be in our house locked up, and
it's like my friends in Seattle,
I did check, chlorine does kill coronavirus, so we're good. And if people want to come to my house and be in the pool, then I'm cool with that. But
I was thinking about swim team. Why'd they cancel swim team? They're jumping into chlorine. Let them swim.
I know. It just shows you how easily they have control over all of us. We think we're free.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, don't get me started on the freedom thing. There's more slaves right now in our country than there ever has been.
Well, and
evidently we all are.
We're all slaves to what we're told to do.
We're slaves to the media.
We think we're free, but look how easily they just told us what to do, and we all did it.
Around the world.
Around the whole world.
Yep.
So I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts, but we're running out of time, and a lot of them are a little bit controversial, but and I don't get into that. I don't get into politics. I don't get into sides of anything, but there's something else going on. Yeah. Well, I don't, but there's something bigger that we don't know about. But I really, truly believe at the end of all this, it's going to be overall good.
I agree.
People are going to look back. This is AC and BC, before and after coronavirus, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be a defining moment in our time. And
for sure.
And I think it's going to be all positive in the end, but in the meantime, it's a little scary and unpredictable. And my heart goes out to anybody that is going to be hurting from this, monetarily, financially, physically, So,
the economic piece.
Yeah, but look for the good, you guys. That's what I want to say. Look for the good, because the good's out there and it's better than the fear. It's bigger than the fear. And people are good overall, and we love you, and we'll see you next week.
And go to West Village in Avocado West if you live in St. George, Utah.
You've been listening to Finding the Fire, where we are finding deeper connections through sharing our life experience. Being placed in foster care, losing a child to SIDS, and a husband to suicide, Cindy has turned her story into the fuel that drives her. To be featured as a guest, go to findingthefire.com. Cindy is a former NICU nurse, a foster parent, has started a nonprofit, helps others, and supports her family by selling real estate. To find out more, go to involvedcommunity.com.